things that the church has done to assure all the people who are members of the church is to talk about how it is we can be sure that a sacrament is valid. What do we mean by valid?
Good. Like
Good or true?
Yeah, or you can do it. It's actually good.
Okay. Or know what it is. Here we go. All right. I'm sorry. You have to pray yourself because we already prayed. Come on. Come on.
Oh, she put it in her hair.
So when we talk about the validity of the sacrament, we talk about whether we can be assured that what is happening is true and as the church is taught. And they say that there are 5 things that we have to look at in order to talk about the validity of the sacrament. First of all, we have to make sure that it has a proper minister. He's the person who is doing the sacrament. Who is the proper minister for the sacrament of Holy Communion? Who's the one who must be present to administer the sacrament? A priest, or who else? A bishop, that's right. So a priest or bishop. So that would be proper minister. Proper object. Who can receive communion?
Someone who has been baptized.
Baptized Christians are those who can receive. So the proper object is a baptized Christian.
So what sacrament are we talking about today? And let's go back and what's the definition of the sacrament? What were you fixing to say?
An outward and visible sign of an inward and spiritual grace.
All together now.
An outward and visible sign of an inward and spiritual grace.
So what does that actually mean?
It means that the outward and visible sign is something physical that you can see and comprehend, of an inward and spiritual grace that God puts in us that we may not see, we may not feel, we may not even be able to tell it's there.
Okay.
And it just builds up.
And how?
Can anybody tell me some of the objections that we've talked about? What are some of the possibilities of the resurrection? Yes, sir.
That he was, the resurrection?
Yeah.
Like, are you talking about like how people say he was wrong and stuff, or what? The resurrection.
Well, what are the different possibilities of the resurrection, Carter?
Why he didn't come back and the apostles were just making up myths, stories.
They were just making up myths. Anthony?
They were saying it never happened and we're all liars.
Well, no, they were saying that it did happen and we're all liars. The apostles.
Oh, they were saying that all of the people just hallucinated that he came back.
Right. Okay.
That he didn't actually die.
That he may have just swooned on the cross, but didn't actually die. No?
He did resurrect, but he came back as a ghost.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Now, yesterday we talked about some reasons why the swoon theory of him not actually dying wasn't possible. We talked about the deceiving part, about the apostles lying, and of course the main argument against the deception theory is why would the apostles lie about something that would get them nothing except persecution, excommunication, and death? People generally lie in order to gain something for themselves.
But was God angry at Job? He's a little tired of his talking, maybe, but we know that he liked Job, and in the end, what does he do for Job? Gives him twice as much. So something else is being said. Who raised their hand? Yes.
He's not the one that's suffering.
Well, yeah. God is, Will, what do you think is really being said?
God angry?
No, God isn't angry. He may be a little frustrated.
I think that God's saying in a way, like, you wouldn't understand how things happen. It's just God's wisdom is beyond what Job thinks, and that's probably...
Sift through the reasons why the Book of Common Prayer produced the greatest empire ever known and helped us win the greatest war ever fought, and is one of the most renowned and beloved liturgies in the history of the Universal Church. I've summarized these on one of these pages, which you'll find eventually. But the first thing about this book that makes it great is it's based on a certain concept of what liturgy is. That liturgy is an organic whole through time. That's a fancy way of saying that this liturgy has elements in it from the apostles, from the early fathers, from the Middle Ages, from the Reformation, the great theologians of the 17th century, who were called Caroline Divine because King Charles was the king. Then on into the evangelical and Oxford movements, and then up to our present day. The accumulation of all the things that goes into a liturgy like this is like a snowball rolling down a hill. It picks up snow as it rolls down, and it picks up snow from every single part of the hill. So this has stuff in it from every age, every period.